Welcome to Talk with Alex and Sophia. I am your host, Alex, and joining me is Sophia.
Hello, everyone. It is so great to be here.
Today, we're going on an educational deep dive into the English language, and we are talking about a very relatable topic.
Yes, very relatable.
It is something that connects every single human being on the planet. It is a situation that always makes your heart beat just a little bit faster. We are talking about getting lost.
Getting lost is a truly universal experience. It happens to people traveling to the other side of the world, and it happens to people walking in their own neighborhoods.
Oh, absolutely.
You can get lost in a tiny village with only 3 streets, and you can get lost in a massive city like Tokyo or New York. Our mission today is to give you the tools to handle this situation.
Because getting lost is not the real problem.
Right. The real problem is not knowing how to find your way back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know what many of you listening right now might be thinking. You might be looking at your smartphone.
Everyone relies on their phones now.
They do. We all have incredible maps right in our pockets. We have satellites sending signals directly to our phones. It tells us exactly where we are standing.
So it's very easy to think that getting lost is a thing of the past.
But let's be honest with ourselves. Even with the best technology in the world, every single person still gets turned around.
Technology is wonderful, but it is not perfect. Batteries die. Especially when you are taking hundreds of photos on your vacation, your battery drains very quickly.
Or sometimes you travel to a new country and you don't have an international data plan.
Yes, that happens all the time. You step out of your hotel, the Wi-Fi disconnects, and suddenly your screen goes blank.
Or my personal favorite, when the GPS signal gets confused by tall buildings.
Oh, I hate that.
You are looking at the little blue dot on your screen. And the dot is jumping across the map. It's spinning around, pointing you in 3 different directions at once.
I know that exact feeling. You are standing on a street corner, spinning around in circles, trying to make the blue dot face the right way. It is so frustrating.
It really is. And this brings us to a very important point. The true survival skill in a new city is not having a perfect internal compass.
No, it's not.
It's not about memorizing a map before you leave your hotel. The ultimate survival skill is knowing how to ask another human being for help and doing it in English.
That is the core of our deep dive today. We have a very clear roadmap for you. We are going to build your confidence step by step.
Step by step.
First, we will talk about the human element. How to actually approach a stranger on the street without feeling terrified, and how to politely ask, "Where is?"
That's a great start.
Second, we will help you decode the answers, because asking the question is only useful if you can understand the directions they give you. Words like turn left or go straight.
Right. You have to understand the answer.
And finally, we are going to tackle public transportation, which can be the most intimidating part of any city.
Our main goal for you is freedom. When you travel, we want you to explore. We want you to wander down an interesting little street just because it looks beautiful.
We don't want you to stay right next to your hotel because you are afraid of being stranded.
Exactly. When you know you have the English vocabulary to ask for help, that fear disappears. You can walk anywhere knowing you can always find your way back.
To set the stage here, I think it's important to share a quick story from the source material. It is a perfect example of how easily things can go wrong even when you think you are totally prepared.
I love this story.
This is a story about a trip to London. London is a beautiful city, but it is very old. The streets were built hundreds of years ago for horses and carts, not for cars.
They twist and turn in very confusing ways.
They really do. It's definitely not a simple grid system.
Yeah.
So during this trip to London, I was walking down the street feeling very confident. I had my phone in my hand.
Staring right at it.
Staring directly at the screen. I was watching the little map closely, following the blue line. I walked for about 15 minutes. I crossed a bridge. I turned a corner. And then I looked up from my phone. I was supposed to be at a famous museum. Instead, I was standing in front of a very quiet residential park.
Oh, no.
I had walked in the exact opposite direction. I was staring right at the technology, and I still managed to get completely hopelessly lost.
I really love that story because it normalizes the experience. You were doing everything right with your phone, and it still failed.
It happens to the best of us.
Our brains just get disconnected from the physical world when we stare at screens. We stop looking at landmarks. We stop paying attention to our surroundings.
Scientists actually study this. There is a part of our brain called the hippocampus.
The hippocampus.
Yes. You can think of it as a tiny map maker inside your head. When you walk around a new city and look at buildings, the hippocampus builds a mental map.
But when you only look at your phone, the map maker goes to sleep.
Exactly. You aren't building any memories of the streets, so when the phone stops working, you are completely blind.
That is a fascinating way to look at it. The technology actually prevents us from learning the city. And that brings us to the first major hurdle when you realize you are lost.
You have to talk to a human being.
Yes. When your phone fails, you have to talk to a person. For a lot of people learning English, this is a terrifying moment.
Approaching a stranger on the street is scary enough in your native language.
Doing it in a second language feels like a massive challenge. People worry about so many things. They worry they will use the wrong grammar.
Or they worry the stranger won't understand their accent.
Or they worry they're interrupting someone's busy day. But let's break this down. The first rule of getting help is not about grammar at all. It is about observation.
Observation.
Before you speak a single word, you have to choose the right person to ask. You need to find someone who doesn't look too busy.
Body language is a universal language. You can read the street before you speak.
What should people look for?
Well, if you see someone walking very fast, holding a briefcase, and staring straight ahead, they're probably late for work. Do not ask them for directions.
No, they will just keep walking.
If you see someone wearing large headphones and looking at the ground, they are in their own world. Let them walk by.
So who are the perfect targets? Who are the people most likely to stop and help a lost traveler?
You want to look for people who are interacting with the environment at a slow pace. A classic example is someone walking a dog.
Oh, dog walkers are great.
Yes, people walking dogs are almost always locals. They live in that neighborhood, which means they know the streets very well. And dog walkers are usually not in a rush.
That makes a lot of sense.
Another great person to ask is someone who is casually swooping the front step of a small shop, or someone sitting on a park bench drinking coffee. You are looking for a relaxed posture.
That is excellent advice. Look for the relaxed posture.
Oh.
Okay, so you have found the perfect person. Someone is walking their dog slowly down the street.
Now comes the moment you have to speak.
In English, politeness is incredibly important. You cannot just walk up to someone and shout, "Where is the subway?"
No, that sounds very aggressive.
You need a polite opening phrase to soften the interaction. The best phrase you can use is this. "Excuse me, sorry to bother you, but I'm a bit lost."
Let's really analyze why that specific phrase is so powerful. It works like magic in almost any English-speaking country.
Let's break it down.
The first part, is the standard way to get someone's attention. It is gentle. It signals that you want to start a conversation without being rude.
Then you add, "Sorry to bother you."
This is crucial. By apologizing for taking their time, you are showing respect. You are acknowledging that they have a life, and you are interrupting it.
Strangely, when you say "sorry to bother you," people become much more willing to be bothered.
It is basic human psychology. When you show respect for someone's time, they want to give you their time.
And then we have the final part of that phrase. "But I'm a bit lost." Notice the word bit? A bit means a small amount.
You aren't saying, "I'm completely panicked and my life is in danger."
Right. You are saying, "I have a small problem." This makes the stranger feel comfortable. It makes them feel like helping you will be an easy, quick task.
It lowers the pressure of the situation entirely. So you have approached the right person. You have used your polite opening phrase. You have their attention, and they are smiling, ready to help.
Now you have to formulate your actual question. You need to be clear about what you're looking for.
If you know the exact name of your destination, you can make a specific request. You can say, "Could you tell me how to get to the Museum of Art?"
The structure of that question is very smooth. "Could you tell me how to get to?"
It is much softer than saying, "Where is the museum?" It is asking for their knowledge.
But if that feels like too many words to remember when you are nervous, you can absolutely keep it simpler. Simple English is always good English.
Very true.
You can just ask, "Where is the nearest subway station?"
Both questions work perfectly. They give the stranger a clear goal. But what happens when you don't know exactly what you are looking for?
What do you mean?
What if you don't need a specific museum or a specific train station? Sometimes you just need a category of a place.
Ah, yes.
And this brings us to a very important concept for navigating a city. It brings us to our first keyword focus for this deep dive. The word is nearby.
Nearby. It is a simple word, but it unlocks so much potential when you are traveling. Let's clearly define what this word means.
The definition is straightforward. Close to here.
Close to here. It means within a short walking distance from your current location. If something is nearby, it is in your immediate local area.
To understand the power of the word nearby, we should imagine a real-world scenario. Let's say you are walking through a busy city center.
Okay, picture the city center.
Suddenly you get a terrible headache. You need some medicine, maybe some aspirin, but you are a tourist. You don't know the names of the local pharmacy chains.
You don't know if they call it Walgreens or Boots or something else?
Exactly. If you ask a stranger, where is the pharmacy, they might give you directions to a very famous pharmacy that is 3 miles away.
Because you asked for the pharmacy. Using the word "the" implies a specific one.
That's a great point. If you use the word "the," it sounds like you have a specific destination in mind, but you don't want to walk 3 miles with a headache.
No, you just want the closest possible place to buy medicine.
And this is where our keyword becomes your best tool. Instead of asking for a specific name, you ask for a general category and you add our keyword at the end.
You say, is there a pharmacy nearby?
Is there a pharmacy nearby? It completely changes the interaction. When the stranger hears the word nearby, their brain stops thinking about the whole city.
Their mental map shrinks down to just a few streets in every direction.
They will think, okay, this person is standing right here and they don't want to walk far. What is within a 5-minute walk?
It is incredibly efficient. And you can use this structure for absolutely any basic need.
Imagine it starts raining suddenly and you forgot your umbrella.
You want to sit inside and wait for the rain to stop.
Yeah.
You can stop someone and say, excuse me, sorry to bother you. Is there a coffee shop nearby?
Or maybe you realize you don't have enough cash for a taxi. You can ask, is there a bank nearby?
It is a plug-and-play sentence. Is there a blank nearby? It is one of the most useful sentences you can possibly memorize for traveling.
It really is.
But asking the question, finding the polite phrase, and using the right keywords, that is really only the first half of the battle.
It truly is only half the battle. You can deliver the most perfect, grammatically flawless question in the English language, but the conversation doesn't end there.
The stranger is going to answer you.
And if you cannot decode the directions they give you, you're still going to be lost. You have to be prepared to listen just as hard as you prepared to speak.
Listening to directions can actually be the most stressful part, because native speakers often speak very quickly.
They live in the city, so the directions are obvious to them.
They might rattle off a long list of instructions. Yeah, you just go down here, take a left at the light, go past the big red building, take a right, and it's right there.
For a beginner English learner, that sounds like a fast blur of words. Your brain panics, and you only remember the last thing they said.
To prevent that panic, we need to decode the core language of directions. We need to strip away all the extra words the stranger might use and listen for the foundational basics.
In English, there are really only 3 fundamental instructions you will hear when walking. Everything else is just extra detail.
What are the 3 basic instructions?
The 3 basic instructions are go straight, turn left, and turn right.
Let's visualize what those actually mean in the physical world. Go straight is the easiest one, but people sometimes second-guess themselves.
When a stranger says go straight, they mean continue moving forward on the exact same path you are currently on.
Don't cross the street. Don't turn onto a smaller road. Just keep walking forward.
And this is often combined with a distance. They won't just say go straight. They will usually say go straight for 2 blocks.
Now, the word block is very important in North American cities.
Especially places like New York or Chicago that are built on a grid. A block is the section of a street between 2 intersecting roads.
So if you walk from one corner past all buildings to the next corner, you have walked 1 block.
That is a great distinction to make because in older European cities, the concept of a block isn't always as clear.
The streets might curve or end suddenly. In those cities, they might say, go straight until you see the church. They use landmarks instead of blocks.
But the physical action is the exact same. Keep moving forward.
Then we have the turns. Turn left and turn right. This means you must change your direction by 90 degrees. You are leaving the street you are currently on and entering a new street.
One helpful tip for English learners: if you ever get confused about left and right under pressure, there is a simple trick.
The hand trick.
Yes. Hold your hands up in front of you with your palms facing away. Extend your thumbs. The hand that makes the shape of a capital letter L is your left hand.
It is a classic trick, but it works every time. When you are nervous, your brain can forget simple things like left and right.
So, you are going straight, you are turning left, you are turning right. You are following the path.
But a good direction giver won't just give you the path. They will also give you something called a positional cue.
Positional cues are the secret to actually finding the building once you are on the right street. Because let's imagine you followed the directions perfectly.
You turned left, you went 2 blocks, you turned right.
Now you are standing on a very long street with 50 different buildings on it. How do you know which one is the museum? A positional cue tells you where to look.
Right. You need to listen closely for phrases that describe the side of the street.
The stranger will usually end their directions by saying it is on your left or it is on your right.
This is brilliant because it instantly cuts your work in half. If they say the museum is on your left, you don't even need to look at the buildings on the right side of the street.
You can focus all your attention on the left side looking for the museum sign.
It narrows down your search area. Now, positional cues can get a little bit more specific. Sometimes buildings are located in very particular ways compared to other landmarks.
This is a crucial part of building a mental map in English. And it brings us to our second keyword focus for today's deep dive.
The phrase we're going to explore is across from.
Across from. This is a phrase that describes a very specific physical relationship between two places.
Let's clearly define what across from means in the context of a city street. The definition is on the other side of the street.
If building A is across from building B, there is a road dividing them.
To really understand this, we have to look at how it forces you to act physically.
If a stranger tells you that your destination is across from something else, they are giving you a warning.
A warning that you cannot just keep walking continuously on the sidewalk.
Exactly. At some point, you will have to stop, look both ways for traffic, step down off the sidewalk, walk over the asphalt of the road, and climb onto the sidewalk on the other side.
A street physically separates the two locations.
To make this perfectly clear, we should contrast it with another very common positional phrase. A lot of learners confuse across from with the phrase next to.
They both describe buildings that are close together, but the physical reality is entirely different.
Let's paint a picture to show the difference. Imagine you are looking for a bank. You ask a stranger and they say, the bank is next to the park.
If something's next to something else, they share a physical border. They are side by side.
If you are standing in the park and you want to go to the bank, you just walk out of the park and immediately into the bank.
You do not have to cross a road. Your feet never leave the continuous sidewalk or the grass. Side by side. That is next to.
But let's change the scenario. What if the stranger says the bank is across from the park?
The whole mental picture shifts. Now, the park is on the left side of a busy road, and the bank is on the right side of that busy road.
If you are standing in the park, you cannot just walk into the bank. You have to walk to the edge of the park.
You wait at the crosswalk, watch the cars go by, and physically cross the street to reach the bank's front door.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. Next to means side by side. Across from means on the other side of the dividing street.
When you hear across from, you should immediately think about crossing the road.
So we have all these different pieces of the puzzle now. We have the basic movements, go straight, turn left, turn right.
We have the positional cues, on your left, on your right.
And we have our relational phrase. Across from. What does it sound like when a native speaker puts all of this together into one flowing sentence?
Let's give you a full practice sentence to listen to. This is very typical of what you might hear on the street.
Imagine you asked for directions to the museum. The stranger points down the road and says, go straight for 2 blocks, turn right, and the museum is across from the cafe.
That sounds simple, but there is a lot of information packed into that one sentence. Let's break it down slowly and build the mental map together.
The first instruction is, go straight for 2 blocks.
As we discussed earlier, this means keep walking forward on your current street. You will walk past one intersecting street. That is the first block. Keep going.
Walk past a second intersecting street. That is the second block. Stop there.
You have moved forward. Now the second instruction is turn right.
So at that second intersection, you change your direction, you pivot 90 degrees to your right and start walking down a brand new street.
And finally, we get the positional cue and the destination. The museum is across from the cafe.
This is the clever part. The stranger knows the museum might be hard to see. Maybe the sign is small.
But maybe the cafe has a giant, bright red awning that is very easy to spot. So as you walk down this new street, you are scanning the buildings looking for a cafe.
Ah, there it is on the right side of the street.
But wait, you aren't looking for a cafe, you are looking for a museum. Because the instruction was across from the cafe, you know exactly what to do.
You stand in front of the cafe, you turn around, you look at the other side of the street, and there is the museum. You cross the road, and you have arrived.
If you can visualize that sequence, if you can understand how those phrases link together to form a path, you can navigate almost any walking route in any city in the world.
You are taking abstract English words and turning them into physical movement. It is a huge step in your language learning journey.
It really is. Mastering walking directions gives you so much independence. But, as we all know, Walking has its limits.
Sometimes a mental map of the local blocks isn't enough. You might be in a massive metropolitan area. The museum you want to visit might not be 2 blocks away. It might be 10 miles away.
Walking is simply not an option.
When your destination is that far away, the rules of the game change entirely. You have to transition to a completely new set of skills.
You are going to require public transportation. You need to descend into the subway system, or you need to figure out the bus routes.
And let me tell you, public transport comes with its own unique set of fears and its own special vocabulary.
The transition from walking down a sunny street to entering a busy subway station can be incredibly intimidating.
The environment completely changes. It is loud, trains are rushing by, there are thousands of people walking very fast, and suddenly the English you need to survive changes too.
Let's talk about the very first hurdle you face when you walk into a train station: the ticket machines.
Oh, the ticket machines. In almost every major city, from Paris to New York to Tokyo, the ticket machines are a source of deep confusion.
You walk up to this glowing screen, and there are dozens of buttons. There are different fare zones, there are peak hours and off-peak hours.
There are daily passes and single-ride tokens. And to make it worse, there's usually a long line of impatient local commuters standing right behind you.
Sighing because you were taking too long. That pressure is awful. It is the worst possible environment to try and translate complex instructions on a screen.
When you feel that pressure, the smartest thing you can do is step away from the machine.
Take a deep breath.
In almost every station, there is a human being whose entire job is to help people. You need to find the staff at the ticket window or the information booth.
Choosing to speak to the staff instead of fighting with the machine will save you so much time and anxiety. But again, you need to know the right phrase to ask.
You want to be clear and direct. Let's say you are trying to get to the airport. You walk up to the glass window, you smile, and you ask, which train goes to the airport?
Which train goes to the airport?
Yeah.
It is a perfect question. It doesn't require you to know the names of the different train lines.
It doesn't require you to understand the map. You are just stating your destination and asking them to identify the vehicle.
The staff member will likely give you a very simple answer. They might say, take the blue line on platform 4.
And if you are above ground trying to take the bus, the situation is very similar. You are standing at a bus stop and a bus pulls up.
The digital sign on the front of the bus is flashing a neighborhood name you don't recognize. Before you get on and pay your money, you can just lean in and ask the driver.
You ask, does this bus go to City Hall?
Asking, does this bus go to, is a fantastic habit. Even if you are 90% sure it's the right bus, asking the driver confirms it.
It gives you peace of mind before you commit to the journey. But whether you are on a bus or a train, public transit routes are rarely simple, straight lines from point A to point B.
Oh, definitely not. Cities are complicated webs. You almost never get on one train and stay on it until you reach your destination.
Usually you have to navigate the maze. You have to change your route in the middle of your journey.
And this complex maneuver brings us to our third and final keyword focus for this deep dive. The word is transfer.
Transfer. This is arguably the most important word to know when dealing with public transportation in English.
Let's define it clearly. The definition of transfer is to change trains or buses.
It means your journey cannot be completed on a single vehicle. Your trip is broken into parts.
Let's visualize the action of a transfer. You board your first train, you ride it for a few stops.
Then you must get off that train, walk through the station, maybe go up some stairs, follow some signs down a long hallway, and wait on a completely different platform to board a second train.
That entire process of moving from vehicle A to vehicle B is a transfer.
Knowing this word allows you to ask the right questions about the transit map. Transit maps look like colorful bowls of spaghetti.
There are red lines, blue lines, green lines intersecting everywhere. Let's imagine a scenario where you are looking at one of these maps.
You know your hotel is located on the blue line, but you are currently standing in a station that only services the red line.
You know you have to get to the blue line eventually, but the map is confusing. So you go back to the friendly staff member at the information desk.
You can ask them, do I need to transfer to the blue line?
This question shows that you understand how the system works. You are asking if a change of trains is required.
This staff member might say, yes, take the red line for 3 stops and then transfer to the blue line. They are giving you the exact sequence of events.
There's also another way to ask about this process. Depending on the city, people sometimes use a different word that means the exact same thing.
Instead of transfer, they might use the word change.
You can ask, where do I change for the green line?
In the context of trains and buses, Change and transfer are identical. You are asking for the specific name of the station where the two lines meet, the place where you must get off and switch.
Understanding the concept of transferring makes the subway system feel much smaller and much more logical. You realize that you don't need a direct train, you just need to know the connecting points.
But while the subway is a challenge of maps and transfers, the bus presents a completely different psychological challenge.
I completely agree. Riding the bus in a foreign city can cause a tremendous amount of anxiety. Let's think about why that is.
On a subway train, the environment is very controlled. There is usually a bright, clear map right above the door with a blinking light showing exactly where you are.
There is a loud, clear, automated voice announcing, "Next stop, Central Station." You have a lot of information.
But on a city bus, you are often deprived of that information. The map isn't always clear. Sometimes there is no automated voice.
And worst of all, it can be incredibly hard to see out the windows. If the bus is crowded, there are people standing in front of you.
If it is raining, the windows are foggy. If it is nighttime, you can't read the street signs.
It creates this awful feeling of suspense. You are sitting there staring out the foggy window thinking, was that my stop? Did we pass it? Where are we?
The anxiety of not knowing when to step off the bus, the fear of missing your destination and ending up miles away in a strange neighborhood, it is very real.
It is a very common fear. But we have a pro tip for buses. This is a strategy that experienced travelers use all the time, and it will completely eliminate that anxiety.
The pro tip is to make the driver your personal guide. Do not rely on your own ability to see out the window. Rely on the expert.
How exactly do you do that? It happens the moment you step onto the bus.
Right. When the doors open, you step onto the bus and you pay your fare or scan your ticket. At that exact moment, while you are standing right next to the driver, you look at them and you ask a very specific favor.
You say, could you tell me when we get to the Central Library?
Could you tell me when we get to the Central Library? This is such a brilliant strategy. You are clearly stating your destination, and you are asking them to take responsibility for notifying you.
Some people might feel shy doing this. They might think they are bothering the driver. But you really shouldn't feel that way.
Not at all. You have to remember, driving a city bus for 8 hours a day can be a very solitary, repetitive job. Most drivers actually appreciate a brief moment of human interaction.
They are usually very happy to help a polite visitor.
They drive that exact route multiple times every single day. They know every bump in the road. They know exactly where the Central Library is without even thinking about it.
When you ask this question, you're building a tiny alliance with the driver. If you do this, I highly recommend finding a seat near the front of the bus, close to the driver.
When the bus approaches your destination, the driver will usually glance in the rearview mirror, make eye contact with you, and call out, "Central Library, this is your stop."
It is a wonderful feeling. It takes all the pressure off your shoulders. You don't have to panic. You don't have to wipe the fog off the window.
You have communicated your needs clearly in English, and you have trusted the local expert to help you navigate their city. It is the ultimate travel hack.
It really is. It turns a stressful bus ride into a relaxing tour of the city. So we have unpacked a tremendous amount of information today. We've traveled from the street corner to the sidewalks, down into the subway, and onto the bus.
Let's look back at everything we've covered and briefly recap the major takeaways and the key words from this deep dive.
We started with the human element. We learned that the most important skill is knowing how to ask for help when technology fails. We learned to look for relaxed people, like dog walkers.
We learned the magic of the polite opening. Excuse me, sorry to bother you, but I'm a bit lost.
And we introduced our first keyword, nearby, which means close to here. It helps you find things like a pharmacy without walking miles.
Then we moved on to decoding the answers. We visualized the basic movements. Go straight, turn left, turn right. We discussed the concept of walking a block.
We learned the importance of positional cues, like on your left. And we unpacked our second keyword, across from.
We contrasted it with next to, emphasizing that across from means on the other side of the street, requiring you to cross the traffic.
Finally, we conquered the intimidating world of public transport. We learned to bypass confusing ticket machines and ask the staff directly which train goes to the airport.
We explored our third keyword, transfer, which means the physical act of changing trains or buses to complete a journey.
And we finished with the ultimate bus pro tip, asking the driver to tell you when you reach your stop, eliminating all travel anxiety.
Because you have listened to this deep dive and because you understand these concepts, you are now equipped. You are ready to explore any English-speaking city confidently.
You have the tools you need to survive. But an educational deep dive is never truly complete without some practical application. Listening is great, but speaking is how you truly learn. It is time for a crucial requirement.
It is time for your homework assignment.
We always want you to bridge the gap between theory and practice. We want you to take these abstract spatial concepts and vocabulary words and apply them to your actual physical life. This is how the brain truly absorbs language.
Yeah, so here is your task. I want you to imagine a scenario. Imagine that I've traveled to your city and I am standing right outside your front door.
I am standing on your street looking at your house or apartment building. I walk up to you and I say, "Excuse me, sorry to bother you. Could you tell me how to get to the nearest convenience store or coffee shop?"
I want you to give me the directions in English.
Think carefully about the physical space around your home. Try to use the vocabulary we discussed today.
Do I need to go straight for a certain number of blocks? Do I need to turn left at the corner? When I get close, what is the positional cue? Is the coffee shop across from a local park? Is the convenience store nearby?
We want you to map it out in your mind, translate it into English, and write your directions down. In fact, we highly encourage you to write your directions in the comments section wherever you are listening to this.
We truly love reading them. It is fascinating for us to see how you are applying the language to describe the streets in your own neighborhood wherever you are in the world.
It is a great exercise in visualizing your familiar surroundings through the lens of a new language. As we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a final provocative thought.
We started this whole discussion by acknowledging the nervousness, the racing heart, the fear of getting lost. We talked about it as a problem to be solved.
But if we zoom out and look at the bigger picture of travel and human experience, getting lost is not actually a failure.
In our modern world, we are so obsessed with efficiency. We want the fastest route. We want the blue line on the map to guide us perfectly from point A to point B without a single mistake.
When the map app stops working, it is easy to feel like the trip is ruined. But really, if you reframe it, getting lost is an unscripted opportunity.
That is a beautiful way to look at it. When you walk off the edge of your planned map, serendipity happens.
You stumble upon a tiny hidden bakery that isn't listed in any guidebook. You discover a quiet courtyard with an old fountain. You see the city not as a tourist attraction, but as a real place where real people live.
Exactly. And think about the human connection. When you get lost and you bravely approach a local stranger to ask for directions using these new English skills, you are doing something profound.
You are stepping out of your comfort zone. You aren't just locating a museum or finding a subway station. You are making your first genuine connection in a new city.
You are interacting with the fabric of the local culture. You are sharing a brief, helpful human moment with someone whose life is totally different from yours.
You are taking the courageous step of using a new language in the chaotic, real world, away from textbooks and classrooms.
And remember, every single time you open your mouth to ask for help, you are practicing your English, and you are building a foundation of confidence that will last a lifetime.
So the next time you look at your phone and the screen is blank, don't panic. Take a deep breath, look around, find a friendly face, and embrace the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the language of navigation. We hope you feel empowered and ready to step out your front door and explore the world.
Keep moving and keep practicing.
See you on the next bus.